A hero is somebody who, I guess you can call it a good Samaritan, somebody who just goes out of their way to do something nice and kind and respectful for other people.
My son Connor was 22 months old when he got diagnosed with leukemia. As you can imagine, our world felt like it stopped, but it really didn't. We still had bills to pay and meals to cook and groceries to buy, and thankfully we had a lot of support from our community of heroes, but what we realized were there were a lot of families that didn't have the same support that we did. So when Connor finished his treatment, we decided to start Connor's Heroes to help other families.
When you have a child that gets a cancer diagnosis, there's nothing slow about it. It's like being thrown into crashing waves in a violent storm. You don't have time to think.
Especially when you're on the road to transplant or when you have a very high-risk disease, it really turns the entire family structure upside down. And the ability to get to your appointments every day and get to all of these, chemotherapy and radiation and bone marrow transplant can be very difficult for some families, especially if they may have some limited financial needs. And so if you don't provide enough support for the child's whole family, then they're not going to make it through treatment.
As a parent, you have to get past the emotional piece of your child has cancer into the, okay, how do we try to move through this? What's the next step?
But in other ways, a week or two or a month or two later, just as the calm is kind of setting in and you're learning more and realizing what a long and intense journey you have, other people start kind of stepping in, and that's how we got to know Connor's Heroes.
The first time I heard Connor's Heroes was when the social worker brought in our book bag and a parent tote bag. Savannah and I brought it over to the bed and started looking through it, and there was a DVD player, there were crayons, books.
The parent totes have necessity items like soft tissues and hand lotion and hand sanitizer. It has journals and note cards, but it also is full of some vouchers for restaurants that deliver to the hospital, a gas card, a free house cleaning, free family portraits, just those little things to help families when they're first diagnosed.
You come home with binders full of information and a pharmacy full of medications and this new word cancer and a completely new way of life. And in the middle of all these things, you can't do this, you can't go there, you're not able to see these people. Here's this backpack that's full of endless fun and possibilities and a reminder that in the middle of all of this, childhood has to take place.
We started Superheroes and Sidekicks because we realized that one of the things that children with cancer were missing was the social interaction that they had. Many children with cancer cannot go to school for long periods of time. We match a community volunteer with a patient or with the patient's sibling, and they just have fun. They help these kids remember what it is like to be a kid.
His superhero sidekick has actually become a really dear family friend. So we've really hit it off with them. It's become like they're this wonderful presence in our lives that I think we would never have been connected to them otherwise.
We really felt the love from Connor's Heroes when we started the transplant journey. The day that we were admitted, we got up to the bone marrow unit at like 6 a.m. It was still dark outside, and we went to her room, and it was amazing. There were hearts and stars hanging all over the ceiling, everywhere you looked, and there were Christmas lights strung up, and it was just perfect.
The art ball was introduced a few years ago. It helps give the kids with cancer and their families kind of a release from the whole hospital and cancer thing, and the kids just get to paint and do projects and have fun.
We're all individual families, and you put us together and we become this amazing collage of beautiful, brave children, and that's what you see when you're in those art classes, is just a lot of beautiful works of art on display.
Connor's Heroes also has a program called Helping Heroes. We really try to understand what a family needs and help them understand what they need. So we will plug in volunteers to provide meals on a regular basis, to do yard work, to run errands. We've even helped with childcare for siblings.
This is really life-saving to families going through cancer.
Connor's Heroes gave him a comfort when we couldn't.
And here are people who have been there, done that, and understand every step of your journey.
Anyone can be a hero to a kid with cancer and their families. Whether you can donate your time to help us through volunteering, whether you can donate your talents and your treasures, everything that you do can be helpful for us.
You know, it's just so many kids who get diagnosed with cancer, and a lot of kids and families, they don't have any support, and nobody really understands, I guess, what they're going through. And that's what Connor's Heroes hopes to provide to as many people as we can.